We're recording now. What up, YouTube? Stormfall TV here, back with a Predecessor review, alpha, feel, weekend, all, whatever kind of thing. So what we're going to talk about today is the overall feel of the Predecessor alpha I got to take part in last weekend. And we have a couple different main points to hit: the overall game feel, the balance, items / power climb throughout the game, and the future plans for Predecessor. I have been talking to the devs a little bit, so while I don't have a lot of insight, I'm not a part of the dev team, I have enough information to make a prediction, right? So without further ado, if you don't know what Predecessor is a MOBA style game. It's a 5v5 PvP style game. You have 3 lanes, you have a jungle, you're trying to destroy the enemy objectives, and the enemies are trying to destroy your objectives. That's the basics. So what this game really is, again, if you've never heard of it, is it is a Paragon it's a Paragon what is it called? There's a word for it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is a game that is following Predecessor, following in their Predecessor is following Paragon's footsteps. And Paragon was a MOBA that was being created by Epic Games. When they couldn't find a way to monetize it like they did to Fortnite, they chose to dismember it and to put the pieces onto Unreal Engine 4. And some companies have picked those up, studios like Omega Studios, who is making Predecessor. And so we're kind of getting that Paragon revival back. That's right, I remembered. And so that's what this game is. If you like MOBAs, this is pretty much a game for you. Even if you don't like MOBAs, this game feels kind of like a mix of an action game and a MOBA, so definitely check it out. That being said, our first topic, game feel. The overall feel of the game was very good. It had despite having some balance issues, the game felt really fun to play, and I never once throughout the entirety of the alpha weekend did I really feel like I was burned out or like I wanted to go off and play something else. And now that it's over, I really find that I don't want to play other games. I really feel like the gameplay loop of the game was really good. So despite there being some balance issues, I still think that while some characters were able to overpower others, every character had a way to overpower and to dominate in their game. And so it really felt like there was a good balance in the unbalance of everything, right? Because it was the items that were unbalanced. The devs have said that the item system was being focused on getting more choices out there, not necessarily on the overall balance, and they're going to be working on that for future alphas. So that's something to keep in mind. But as far as the game feel goes, it was a solid 10 out of 10 for me. I could not have asked for a more enjoyable experience. For the overall balance of the game, topic 2. The balance, like I said, was a little off. There were items that by themselves may not have been super overpowered, but there were enough items doing similar effects that worked synergistically that provided an overall effect that made it very hard to counter. A prime example in the first build that I'm going to be doing is the Unkillable Chimera build. In other words, come the fuck at me. And so, basically, what would happen is through, I think it was 3 items, Vampiric Blade, Vital Waters, and Restorative Armor, I think it was. You increased your health regen because you already have passive health regen. That increases as you fight. You had the ability to 5v1 essentially, and as long as you didn't get destroyed in the first couple seconds of battle, you could absolutely just nuke down the enemy mage or the enemy hunter or ADC or whatever you want to call it, the enemy carry, their main damage. You could absolutely just nuke someone and take out a considerable amount of their power, activate Vampiric Blade, which again will be explained in the build video, but activating Vampiric Blade gave you 80% additional lifesteal on top of all of these restorative benefits. And so if you're low health and you're getting the massive benefits of, I think it was 2, I think you got you got like 2% increase in healing effect per 3% missing health, and 1.5% increase in healing effects, health regeneration for every 2.5% of your missing health. So when you're at low health and you're hitting those maximum benefits, really, you can absolutely just get all your health back by activating Vampiric Blade, because you have that 80% lifesteal plus your 150 health regeneration. in addition to all these increasing benefits. And so things like that made it so you could regenerate your entire health bar even while being hit by the enemy team. And so the balance was very off there. However, with a little bit of CC, you just instantly nullify it. So there was a balance in the fact that it was a very specific build and you had to play it a very specific way, but when played correctly, it could completely overpower people. So the overall balance, maybe a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6, because there were checks and balances, but at the same time, it was very easy if you knew what you were doing to completely overshadow every obstacle. The other prime example that I can think of is having ADCs that are hitting 1,200 damage crits on an armored target, or having mages that have abilities that you can cast every 4 seconds, that do 1,000 plus damage. That all you have to do is essentially throw it out and it sticks to an enemy, and so not only them but everyone around them also takes the damage. So everyone has to, you break up a formation and then all of a sudden you've spread everyone out and your team can just go in. So there were some imbalances with the item system, but the overall balance of the game, like the imbalances balanced it out, which was a kind of a weird thing, but it worked and it was a lot of fun. Lots of memes basically. The item / power climb. As we've touched on a couple times, the item system very imbalanced. However, what was really cool about the item system, and I hope something that they keep in, and that any devs watching, one thing that you've done very, very well is that you have a lot of items that work synergistically to provide you a framework for builds. I don't like when I think Paragon really kind of dipped into this a little bit towards the end, but I really hate it whenever you have a game where you have effects that really don't work together, where you choose essentially 6 different passive effects to give you different abilities basically, as opposed to having slightly less impactful abilities that can work synergistically. So as previously said, there were 3 cards that worked with health regeneration and lifesteal that improved your ability to heal as you got to low health, and that could be comboed with an ability that under 30% health gives you a shield, so you have like, you can eat like 1 extra hit, or you can eat that, you know, second of CC and then get back into the fight. You had cards that increased your mana cost and provided a mana cost on basic attacks, and then gave magic power to your basic attacks, which are typically a physical power, healed you for your magic consumption, and based on the damage you were taking, also gave you back mana, and on basic attacks would give you back missing mana. And so it was this feedback loop of your basic attacks give you mana, take mana, heal you, and while you're taking damage, that damage gives you back mana, so you can burst abilities to heal yourself more. And some of these cards had ability lifesteal, so the damage you dealt with your abilities would also heal you. And it was a really interesting, I didn't get to actually play with it a whole lot, but that was a really interesting concept. And even though I didn't get to play around with it a whole lot, the framework was there, right? And so having stuff like that makes the game really interesting. It allows for these off-meta builds where someone who wouldn't normally be doing magic damage can make a really effective magic damage build, and can really force the enemy to pay attention and adapt to what you're doing. And that, I believe, is the essence of a really good game. The other part of 3, along with items, is the power climb, and the power climb felt very good. Every item you chose felt very impactful. There were certainly times whenever you would get like one item would be impactful, and then your next item would synergize with that item, and all of a sudden, instead of having 2 small power spikes where you could get one over on your opponent for like until they went back and got their next item, like if you got the right 2 items or the right 3 items going, all of a sudden you have like a little power spike, a little power spike, and then a power spike, and you're just like dominating until the enemy gets their power spike, right? And so it forces a decision in lane of, do I stay and farm more even though the enemy can absolutely destroy me, or do I go back and try to get something to combat this and try and deal with the threat? It forces a decision, which is the most important thing for an item and power climb topic, is how do items force the enemies to make decisions? And that pressure, how do you deal with that pressure? So with future plans, our last topic for today, because I don't want to make this video super long, I'm really hopeful. I was talking to one of the devs, Blood Mortius, yesterday while I was on stream, and I was saying that essentially, like, I wanted, like, there were 2 character ideas that I had. I'm like, if you make either of these characters, I promise you I will be playing nothing but this character until they're level 10 mastered, like, full out, like, I'm top of the game with this. And his exact comment was, oh, what a coincidence, we were just talking about that yesterday. And I'm just like, dude! So they actually have he said they have over 100 character concepts that they have to sort through, but they have, the biggest thing there is they have original character concepts. They have original map concepts. They're taking the framework that Paragon gave them to build off of that to create the feel of Paragon, what made Paragon so great, and they're using that as a framework to learn how to build their game around it. And I think that's really smart to do in an alpha. I think the proper way to do this for them is not to release it in open access beta until they have plans for releasing their original content, because the framework of Paragon gives them a lot of information on how to structure their game. It gives them a lot of information on how the players feel about the game, and having some of those fan favorite, like Paragon legacy characters, gives them a draw for an audience that already exists. And then adding their own their own original characters gives them life. It gives them a differentiator between, like, them and, say, Fault, or them and Overprime, because as far as I'm aware, Fault doesn't have a lot of concepts for original characters. They're already in open access, and they are a Paragon clone that's evolving in the way the item system, and that they added in their aspect system, for example. They have new systems, but it's still Paragon. And so what I really think, and like the like wrapping up thoughts here, and which is what the future plans I feel like really is kind of this topic of what should we expect, you know, why should we pay attention to this game, why should we get involved in this game. I would say the number one reason to get involved in this game obviously is it's fun. It's really enjoyable. Even if you don't like MOBAs, the power fantasy that exists within Predecessor is amazing. It's something that I've missed since Paragon, right? And the future outlook after talking to the devs, like, I'm really scared for these games because I don't want them to get started, lose traction, and fall back. Fault alone used to have 1,000, 2,000 people watching every day on peak hours, and now they're down to like 300 or 400 from what I've seen on Twitch. And so it's like the game's losing traction because it's not evolving, right? It's the same thing all the time, and it's not really evolving as it needs to. With Predecessor, what I really think is that if they do what I think they're going to do, which is to use the framework of Paragon in their alphas and their game testing to refine their systems, to refine their game feel, to refine how interaction should work, and then they start to release their original characters, maybe have like a pool of like 10 or 15 Paragon characters that were fan favorites, and then start to build their original characters, and then from there maybe they do eventually introduce all Paragon characters back into the game, but they balance it with their own original characters. It gives them the sense of that they have their own heart and soul, they have their own feelings in the game, like their dreams are evident in the game, but they are paying homage to what inspired them. They're paying honor to the OG game, right? And I think that's really beautiful. So like I said, the number one reason to play this game, it's fun. And also, they are doing something original with something that already exists. They are taking and evolving on that. And also, I'm just saying, esports, please. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate a like, comment. Let me know what your thoughts on the game were. If you haven't played the game, has this video swayed you in any way to check it out? Has this video turned you off to the idea of playing it? What do you have any advice for the devs when it comes to what you would like to see with the game? Get involved in the comment section, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. We will be coming with our own gameplay and builds soon, don't you even worry. But for now, I've been Stormfall TV, y'all been beautiful, and remember, you are loved, you matter, and you are powerful beyond measure. Don't let your dreams just stay dreams, because they aren't meant to. We'll see you next time.